Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert and Division with various win for the Asia Champions Tournament here in Golf Clash the game. We're playing a mix of the Sakura Hills and the Kokasho Bay. Before we take a look at all the videos, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking to improve your game even more, scan the QR code that you can see here on the screen, or you use the link patreon.com/golfclashtome and you can find in the description down below. That will take you to our premium guides for Checkpoint Challenge, Tour Play and Tournament guides, and will be a perfect way for you to elevate your game even more. Follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1 of the Sakura Hills, which is hole number 1 in the Far East 9-hole cup, we are going to play ourselves up to wedge/short iron here. This is a short par 4, and if we do have a solid tailwind, there is a big chance of getting this ball to green in kind of an easy way, in my opinion. But as it is a tailwind/crosswind, I decided to not do that because I do believe that there is so much more risk than for the water than if I would be having a straighter tailwind and can go for it much easier. We lay up, bounce on the fairway up towards the bunker and rough. Now a little bit closer to the rough than I would like to do, but it gives us still a possibility to attack the pin. Second shot here now using 10% elevation, and then it's true club distance. So even if I say mid distance in the info box, here we're playing from absolute min club, and then we obviously play min distance. But my point with adding mid is to just have make you to have in mind that depending on what type of club distance you have, that's what you are going to play. So aim with the ball guideline into the hole here. And obviously, if we do have a tailwind on the approach in a scenario like this, you can play from the min line, because then you will pull in between clubs. So then you have to, if so, push up a little bit, go in more backspin, or you have to play with your wedge. 10% elevation, min club adjustment, bounces on the fairway, and we're getting that one dead center for a lovely eagle to start with on hole number 1 of the Sakura Hills, for hole number 1 in the Far East 9-hole cup. Hole number 2 of the Kokasho Bay from the second tee offers different type of alternatives. One is that you can do a standard double bounce down towards the pin on this very bumpy fairway. Now, the first bounce isn't that bumpy, but you can see how bumpy it is on the way down towards the pin. So it's all about finding the speed here with the spins. And if you are wrong with the spins, it can easily glitch roll you over the green, or you can stay short and stay before the green also. There is a rough bump possibility on the right there by the tree, the tree that you can see first on the right hand side, but that requires at least a side spin 4 ball to be able to get towards the pin. You can also use a backspin boost ball to go directly on the green, so there are different alternatives to this type of play, and which is good, because I'm not really a fan of this type of double bounce and roll down, because I feel it's going to be very hard to tweak this one to be consistently dropping, just because it's going to vary so much to where the result is going to vary a lot depending on where we do hit with our ball on the second bounce. Hole number 3 is going to be an important hole to have a lot of topspin on your drive. It's either that, or you have the possibility to play with a driver that you have a lot of power already from start, because that will allow you to use the wind, in this case the tailwind, to land with your first bounce before the rough and the sand. You can't really see the sand, but to then bounce over on the second fairway. But if that's not a possibility, then the double bounce is the way to go. The big topper allows you to use a lot of topspin, which is going to be extremely helpful on a par 5 like this, where laying up on the first fairway is going to result into just playing for eagle, whereof here we are pushing and to get towards the second fairway and to then push for an albatross. See, we bounce nicely over, and now we have an open shot towards the green. Second shot, here it's all about finding a good spot, and you can see me moving around a little bit with my sniper, trying to find some sort of a sticky spot here, which is definitely very helpful in terms of attacking the pin. The ball guideline is through the hole, and I'm going through the hole due to the fact that we do have a headwind, and we know in that case that the ball will not roll, especially when it's uphill as far as the ball guideline is showing. It's going to be shorter. 10% elevation, and we do hit perfect. Ball hits the fairway up towards the pin and missing just left. Need a little bit more adjustment to give that ball a chance. Hole number 5 of the Gokasho Bay, we are going to send this ball in a controlled way out to a short iron. And the reason we're not trying to go for green is because there are too much sand, and I do believe that the risk contra the reward is not what I would like to be. So again, playing with a Titan ball, we are adjusting and pushing up slightly, and then going max overpower with a slower needle. Here you could obviously go with more topspin. Like if you have an Apocalypse level 7, you don't have to go with all the overpower. You can just go with more topspin and avoid them to have to go with the overpower. Then you will end up more or less in the same place anyway, but I wanted to at least display this shot to be able to be played with a lower level driver. Max plus 20 is the adjustment on the drive. Now, it's either to be a wedge or it is to be a short iron. Here, we're going to change the picture of the club and we're going to add the wedge instead. Now, when it comes to playing the wedge here from this distance, I would recommend to go with all the topspin that you can, because it will help you to be more consistent, to play the max topspin EB school version. But if you do not want to do that, then you play the no spin, which is 20% elevation, P3 numbers, or whatever power ball you are using. So if you're using a power 5 ball, you use power 5 ball numbers. And here now you can see that even if I'm using all the topspin, I'm still missing this shot. So it's very important that you are accurate with your wedge. Don't take it as easy as I did there, because it could bite you in the butt big time. However, though, getting to a wedge there will most definitely give you a very solid chance to attack the hole for an eagle. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides for expert and the master division for the Asia Champions tournament on patreon.com/golfclashtom. You can also scan the QR code and that will take you directly to our packages. We are every single tournament catering to thousands of players that are using our premium guides, the ultimate tournament text guide. So if you do want to improve your tournament play even more, you scan the QR code or you use the link in the description down below and you sign up and see for yourself why we are by far the largest guide community on the market. Obviously, we do not just cater to tournament, we do have checkpoint challenge and tour play guides as well. Bundle it together or pay for it alone, and you will most importantly see that regardless what you choose, you will improve your game. Hole number 4, we are attacking the pin by bouncing over the rough and the sand. There are some rough bump possibilities, but those rough bumps are extremely dependable on your skills on being very accurate. Otherwise, you risk missing the rough and then you will bounce into the sand or in the rough behind the pin. So we're using the red ring as a reference, using the backspin and the side spin as well to have the ball guideline pointing towards the hole. Adjust 10% elevation, but I would like to say in this case that when we do have a par 3 like this, the adjustment may differ slightly depending on what type of wind direction you have, because you might design it with different spins or might end up playing a little bit higher up, a little bit further down. So don't steer yourself blind with that the true elevation is 10%. I would say that this is definitely a par 3 with a good chance for a drop. Hole number 6, Gokasho Bay from the second tee. We are using 2 left spin and half a bar of top spin. We're playing from NMT with a power 3 ball. And here I'm using an extra mile. You can use an Apocalypse, you can use a Thor's Hammer if you would like, or any other type of combination. This is such a straightforward drive that it's not really going to require a bunch of different stats to be able to get this ball down the fairway safely. If you do want to go for a power, let me see, power hook is gonna be, and then you will have to have a good amount of tailwind off tee, and it's often going to require a driver such as the Apocalypse because you do need a lot of curl. Max plus 10 on the drive. Second shot we play with our sniper is all about trying to find a good spot and build that together with, or use that together with a solid reference such as the fringe check as we're doing here in the video. I'm trying to use the white rings here to be by the fringe and by the bunker, this to allow for a consistent landing spot. But again, you can play this type of shot in many different ways. 10% elevation, and you will notice based off the result that I'm missing to the left here of the pin. So with some minor modifications here to the adjustment, we can see ourselves hunting the albatross in a much better way. No matter what though, this is an attempt that will always end up for an eagle as per minimum, because there are no obstacles that we're playing over or like playing over or playing before or just playing through or something like that. So it's a very safe eagle in that way. For Sakura Hills hole number 8, we are going to use the rock to play up safely on the fairway. We do have a headwind, which obviously complicates it a little bit more than what we want. And here there is nothing wrong by using a ball with more power. But my idea here now is to not push it too hard, actually to lay up so we can get into that angle and attack with our short iron by bouncing up towards the pin. You will see that on the second shot. Max plus 10 with our rock, and once again there is nothing wrong by using a ball with more power, because that would have us to avoid going into overpower with our adjustment. Perfect ball it is. And we're looking once again to get the ball nicely down the fairway, and we want to be in the correct angle towards the pin, because the tricky part with this par 4 is that big bunker that you can see being more to the left there in the far distance, because if we go too far with our drive, we can't bounce over the bunker. Then we are going to have to go directly on green, and that would so require a lot of backspin. And then we will definitely have a tough time to attack this pin, because look how close this pin stands to the bunker, and the risk of going into that bunker, if then going too close, is most definitely going to be an issue, and there will be a lot of players having a struggle with that. Playing from absolute min club in this distance, you need to have in mind that it's going to be true club distance. So depending on if you're at min, max, mid, you're playing that as your club distance. It could be short iron sometimes as well if you are playing with a ball with more power. But now in the end, I end up to play with a grizzly from absolute min line with min plus 10. Perfect ball it is. We see we play over the beautiful tree and bounces 2 times on the fairway up onto the green dead center for an eagle here on Sakura Hills hole number 8. Gokasho Bay hole number 7. We are playing from the second tee, and we are using a grizzly from absolute max distance. 2 top spin, 2 right spin. And you can see that I'm using a ski ball, which is a power 2 side spin 3 wind 4 ball. There aren't many of these balls available. There was some in the very past, but not now. But if you're struggling with finding a ball that has these type of stats, then you can use a katana instead. Once I found my position with the ball guideline through the hole, I'm respinning to use 1 top spin less. So I'm using 1 top spin and 2 right spin in the end. adjust max plus 20. And as you probably have understood already, that if you do have a crosswind or a headwind compared to a tailwind, this is going to be a different type of play. What I mean with that is like we are going to play with a sniper instead, and we're gonna do a little bit more to the left of the fairway and a little bit higher up to try to use a lot of side spin to attack the pin from that direction. That's the problem on this hole when it comes to playing this type of shot, is that you have to adapt and have to change depending on what type of wind angle you do get when you're playing this one live in tour play or in tournament play. But if you have the tailwind, you can play this type of play with the Grizzly, max plus 20, and start at P2 max line. And if you do not have any special ball with those type of stats that I played with here in the video, then you can always start and fix your setup with the Katana. Hole number 9 of the Sakura Hills. Here we do want to use the driver that gives us the most power combined with topspin possible, because the further down we fairway we get, the better it's going to be to give us an attack at the pin. But you can see here that I'm using an Apocalypse level 6, which is a high level club, and I'm using a power 5 ball such as the Berserker. So even if we do have some tailwind here, you can see that I'm not really getting that far down the fairway. Here, obviously, a topspin boost ball could definitely be a viable possibility depending on what your intention is. If your intention is to play the safest possible way to get yourself an eagle with an outside chance of an albatross, then playing like this is the way to go. If you're looking to somewhat get yourself into rough bump distance or sand bump distance, then a topspin boost ball will be helpful in that sense, because you can see how far to the right the pin is standing on the second shot, or like on the green there. To go for a rough bump or a sand bump, we're gonna have to be a little bit further down the fairway, or we're gonna have to do some sort of a blind type of play for a sand or a rough bump, and that's not really something that I feel confident with suggesting, because there's going to be more mistakes than what it's going to be drops for albatross. So you could do what I'm doing here, which is using the wood club with the most backspin, which is the Guardian, all the backspin and some right spin, and then get your ball past the pin, then to roll down towards the pin again. And if you have a little luck, then you can drop that for an albatross, but will most likely end up being somewhere around the hole for an eagle. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wind for the Asia Champions Tournament here in Golf Clash the game. Make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen, or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy through the link in the description down below for our premium guides, checkpoint challenge guides, tour play guides, and tournament guides for you to improve your game even more. Thank you once again for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.